to make a baked apple. A baked apple is a simple, delicious and time-old recipe that has been cooked for many centuries, or as the New York Times once put it, dates back as far as fire and apples. 1. This recipe is for the traditional version of a baked apple, which tends to always. Ingredients: 1 apple per person. 2 handful of raisins per apple, depends on size of each apple. 3 cinnamon. 4 1/4 to 1/2 tablespoon of butter a substitute, margarine and macadamia oil are good alternatives. 5 pinch of brown sugar, a small drops of syrup or evaporated cane juice. 6 optional, peach pieces, nutmeg, mace, allspice, ginger, or lemon juice. 1 core each apple. Medium-sized apples are usually best, since you don't want a tiny treat, but too large an apple will take a long time to cook. Use a melon baller to core the apple. Leave the flower end on as a bottom. Score the 2 cut the skin around the top of the core hole. The core hole is the hollowed-out space where the core sat. Cut the skin about an inch, 2.5 centimeter, 1.0 in, around the core hole. Place each apple in a suitably sized baking dish, microwave or oven-proof depending on method you will choose. 3 fill the core hole with spices and fruit. This is traditionally cinnamon and raisins, although you can make variations. See tips for suggestions. The amount of raisins you use depends on the size of the core. If you're using other fruit, you will obviously wish to reduce the amount of raisins used. Add a pinch of cinnamon to taste, and a pinch of fresh nutmeg. 4 place a pat of butter or alternative on the top of the core hole. Don't use a lot, just enough to cover the hole. 1/4 to 1/2 tablespoon is sufficient. 5 add a few sprinkles of sugar or drops of syrup to the top of the raisins. If you do not want to add any sweetener, skip this step. Ensure that you have chosen a sweeter variety of apple if you do not wish to use a sweetener. 6 drop a tablespoon of water into the bowl. This will add the moisture needed to keep the apple moist as it bakes, so that it doesn't come out dry. This will also provide a little apple juice at the bottom of the bowl, which adds a lot of flavor. Oven. Set oven to moderate, 350th F 180th C, gas mark chapter 4. Bake apples for 1 hour, or until they feel tender when pierced with a fork. It is important to check regularly and add more water to prevent. Alternatively, if you haven't time or patience to keep checking, place aluminum foil over a pan for 30 minutes and then remove for the last 30 minutes. Some people claim that the aluminum spoils the taste of the apples though, so you may wish to consider this. Keep the foil shiny side down if you use this method. 8. Take out the apple and let it cool off for a few minutes. Don't try to eat it right away, because it will be extremely hot. Some people like cream or whipped cream, or even ice cream, on top. Be sure to cut up the apple, or you'll wind up with the whole apple in your mouth after taking one bite.